Hi, welcome back to the Open Book Beehive. And episode number 3, we'll be talking about teen pregnancy. I'm here with my friend Neli, who is a teen mom. So was I. Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course. We're going to dive right in and talk about teen pregnancy. It's kind of like a topic that people don't really talk about, especially after you had the child and you're a teen and you give birth and the kid's like 5 and nobody really talks about it, but I want to talk about it. How old were you when you got pregnant?
I was 17, 3 months away from turning 18.
So was I. 17. So let's see. How did you feel when you first found out you were pregnant?
I want to say numb. I was kind of dealing with the shock. I didn't really believe it. I know I was test after test, and I was like, no, I'm not. And even up until the ultrasound, I was still like, how do we know? Like, are we sure? Yeah.
Who took you?
I went with my husband and his mom.
Oh, It's so crazy because like the mother doesn't really take the kid. Like you don't want to even go to your mom to be like, hey, guess what? I might be pregnant. Yeah. So my dad's girlfriend took me, and she knew before I even knew. And I was like, what? And she was like, I think you're pregnant. We're going to go to this clinic, Planned Parenthood. We're going to get a test and we're going to just find out what's going on. And I was like, what the heck? And I'm thinking like, oh, but tomorrow I got to go to school. Like my brain's like, oh, crazy because you're like a teen. You're like not even thinking, that's like my daughter's age now. She wouldn't even think of just thinking about how she moves through her daily. I think I moved through that too. Like I was like not even giving a shit about anything. I wouldn't even know my period was late. Right? Like you wouldn't even think. It's the last
thing you think, and even when you think it's happening, you doubt it. You still, it doesn't register in your head that it's happening.
So then what happened?
So I took the test, and right away that same night, I was like, I need to talk to my mom. And since I was little, me and my mom have never really seen eye to eye. So she was one of the last persons I would ever go to for help or advice or anything. But her being a teen mom herself, it was just logic. Who else to talk to than her? And I was really surprised. I went and I told her, I said, can I talk to you? And she made this face where she kind of was just like, and it's like she knew already. So I was like, I really need to talk to you. And she said, okay. We sat down in my bedroom and I told her, I think I'm pregnant. And I was like, bracing, and I was really surprised. She was really calm, and she said, well, did you take a test? Like, are you sure? Like, how did this and this happen? She's like, well, what are you going to do? And, I was shocked. First of all, I didn't even know how to respond to that. And I kind of stared at her for a second because I was expecting like her to lash out. And but she just said, what are your plans? And that's kind of where it kind of hit me. Like, what do you mean? She's like, well, are you going to have the baby? Are you not? Are you thinking adoption? Like, have you talked about this with him? And she was completely
cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's when it hit me, like, this is real. I didn't actually think about these things. We didn't talk about them. So now it's like, what's next?
Wow, that was like totally opposite for me. I when I found out, like I said, I was with her, and then I was like, I am not gonna tell my dad. Because he wants me to go. I was in school. I had such this hard life, and here I am. What am I thinking? Like I was like, what am I thinking? Why would I even do this to myself? I already had a hard childhood, and I put my mother was a teen mother as well. She was 17, so like I just totally did is exactly what everybody said she was gonna do. The cycle doesn't break. That's what people are saying, right? Because if your mom's 17, you're going to be a teen mom as well. That's what everybody says. So we did exactly what happened.
and it sucks because you grow up like, I'm not going to do that. That's not going to be me. And
but you're not even thinking like that because your brain is like a child still. And especially if your parents don't talk to you about sex, then which they didn't. Like my dad would have never even said that word around me. And I didn't really have I grew up in a male-dominated house, so I really didn't have anybody to be like, because at that point my dad was already broken up with his girlfriend. That was his ex-girlfriend. She still mothered us. So when she took me, like you know, I didn't really have anybody to even say like, oh, I didn't have my period or anything. I wasn't thinking about that. So again, I didn't even think of abortion at that point, because I was like, I'm just gonna just have this kid. I just got to figure out when I'm gonna tell my dad. At what point? I waited like months, 4 or 5 months, and then finally I was like, guess what? I'm pregnant. And he lost his mind, like literally. And then again, like he was like, oh, you're gonna be a loser, and like he like, you know, whatever you see on TV is true, because the parents you ruined your life, you're gonna be a loser, and now you gotta go to school, you're gonna go to school pregnant, I don't care, everybody's gonna stare at you, it's your fault, blah 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 blah. And I kind of went to school. I still went back to school. Did you go to school?
Yeah, I mean, mine was more like a silent treatment, like disappointment to like the highest extent, like wouldn't even talk to me anymore. And
really?
It got to the point where, you know, I didn't even tell my dad. He was the last one to find out. So like my mom found out, we told my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, everyone else knew but him. And we kind of planned out, you know, we're going to go over to your mom's house and we'll sit down and talk with him. And, you know, you'll have other people there to kind of be in between you.
In case he flips out, right? Yeah.
And that happened. And of course he lost it. He just took off, you know, burnt tire getting out the driveway. And, you know, we decided it might be better for me to leave the house and go move in with my husband.
So you left?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you moved out, and then, fast forward to having the baby. Well, wait. Back up. So when you're pregnant and your body's changing, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I got lucky. I didn't really start showing till I was about 6.5 months. So, you know, being in school, it kind of helps. You know, I got pregnant kind of midway through my senior year. So I hid it. No one knew I was pregnant even, you know, graduated, did all that after.
Really?
And it wasn't until right before he was born that I posted pictures and stuff. And, you know, all my friends and stuff were like, what? Like, when did this happen? Like, you were pregnant? And
oh my God.
So it helped a lot that I didn't show. And, you know, once I started a little bump, you know, I wore the sweaters and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
why,
it was
were
really
you
easy to
embarrassed?
hide.
Like, were you trying to hide it because you just didn't want anybody to see that you were pregnant? Like,
I feel like I just felt like not stupid, but in a sense, like it could have been avoided. You know, I wasn't ashamed, like, oh, I'm pregnant. It was just like the simple fact, like,
we're
you know,
stupid.
like I messed up. You know, like this could have been avoided. You know, I never thought like my life's over type thing. Like. It wasn't like a downward spiral. It was more like, you know, like I knew better. You know, I grew up being a straight A honor roll student. You know, I did everything right. I did extracurricular activities, like never got in trouble, never did anything, you know, and that was my way of saying, you know, I'm not going to repeat that cycle that happened with my mom. And then it happens and it's like, you understand the disappointment from them, from your grandparents, you know, and it hits you like, you know, that's what more happened with me. I was just like, I could have avoided it. And, you know, I just didn't want to show, or I wasn't ready to show the world, you know, like, I was the one running my mouth saying that wasn't going to be me, and it happened. You know,
I think I was embarrassed. I was like so embarrassed of myself. Like, I was so embarrassed that I dropped out. I was so embarrassed to even like go to school. And my brothers are like, why would you? Now we have to walk you to your classes or whatever it is, and it's our fault too because everybody's gonna be talking. Just drop out. So I was like, at this point, I might as well just drop out and go take my GED, because getting up, and then I was like, because I'm tiny, so it was like everybody noticed. So I just dropped out. I was over it. I dropped out, and I think when I had her, I was such in shock, like, what in the world am I gonna do with this kid? Did you feel like that, or you already knew, like, okay, you got it, you're good? And
I mean, I felt like as soon as I found out I was pregnant, it's like I kind of had to push my needs and stuff aside, and me and my husband really focused on, you know, what we're gonna do to help the baby, you know, how we're gonna.
We had a good support system. You had him.
And you know, I'm so thankful for him, because you know, teen pregnancies, relationships, they don't always work out, and and he was always really supportive. And you know, the first thing when I found out, I told him, you know, I was thinking he's about to run, you know, but it's okay, like, we'll figure it out, you know, we got this, you know, I'm gonna get a job, you can work, or if you want to stay home, like, we'll figure it out. So what really helped for me was kind of taking everything one at a time. Let's get through this pregnancy first, get through this first, and labor, and then we'll see what happens when the baby's here. But our first priority was just getting financially prepared. So it's like he had to get a job.
But his family helped you guys as well?
Yeah, we lived with them for about 8 months.
So what if somebody didn't have like family to help them? What would they do? Where would they go? Like, what do you think, if you think about it, like for somebody like me, maybe I couldn't stay at home. My dad was yelling at me every day. I would not live there, especially pregnant, especially with my baby daddy, who was a loser. He wasn't going to have it. So I was in a different boat. So what would you say to somebody like that who really has no support system at all?
That's hard. I mean, what did you do? What was your initial...
My neighbor helped me. She was always like teaching me stuff like, this is what you have to do, and this is what when the baby comes, and especially at that time my dad's I call her my mom. She was my stepmom, but I call her my mom because I didn't live with her yet, but she would take me to all my doctor's appointments. She would, but then I couldn't like rely on her because she wasn't really my mom. So I was like picking up pieces from everywhere. Like everybody who would kind of like mothered me, I just picked up pieces from there, and I figured it out. But I was really confused. And I really didn't know what to do with this kid, so I was just like, ugh. When I had the kid, I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do now? Like, I gotta finish school, I gotta get a job, I gotta do shit, like, so I really had to prove, I think, to everybody, my dad especially, that I wasn't gonna be such a loser. I mean, did you feel like you had to prove to people?
Yeah, I think a lot of, just the way we're raising our kids and stuff has to do with that. It's just the fact that everyone thinks, as a teen parent, baby's going straight to grandma. Like, who else do you think's going to raise that baby? And, right away, that's why me and Carlos talked about it. And we said, you know what, we're not going to be those parents. We're gonna raise our kids. We're not gonna be taking money and free stuff from everybody. Like, in a sense, yes, we messed up, but we can handle it, and we're gonna take care of it ourselves. The last thing we want to do is be mooching off of people, help me with this, help me with that. And
they just need to take responsibility. If you're a teen and you got pregnant, you just got suck it up and take responsibility.
And nowadays there's so many things you can do to get help. Like, there's WIC and anything. There's housing, everything you could get. So
especially now, I think, at this time, like, that was like, for me, she's 27 now. So back in the day, all we had was WIC, basically. So WIC was like gold. If you got WIC, right, it was like, but now there's so much places that could help you. I think
so much.
I mean, I mean, how has motherhood changed you now that you have how many?
Two
boys. How has it changed you?
It really changed my perspective on life. It helped me. I don't want to say I was selfish before, but I was kind of in the mentality like I was worried about me. What am I going to do when I grow up? Like, me, I'm going here, I'm going there. And now it's like, any decision I have to take, it always goes straight, to the kids,
Yeah.
Is it going to benefit them? Is it going to hurt them in any way? Like, can they be there? Can they not be there? How can I work that situation around them?
So your life totally revolves around them.
Completely.
Every decision.
Completely.
Even taking a shower.
Yes. Because then I'm like, where am I going to leave this kid while I shower? I'm over here like, tuck him in here, take my phone real quick, don't move from there. And you come out and he open up a box of cereal and it's everywhere.
So every decision basically is, and I feel like if you're a good mom, every decision you make is about your kids. Now, if you're a selfish parent, a selfish mom, you could care less who's watching your kid, where you're going to work, how it's going to affect your child. That's what I feel, my opinion, being that I came from a teen mom who really did not know what to do with me, really did not probably put me first. And it's all good because I have became the mother I am today, I think. And I think I will toot my horn. I'm a good mom.
You're
and
a great
I think
mother.
that looking at that made me know that I would never be that kind of mom. You know, other people's story. Like I would not be that kind of mom. I mean, we make mistakes. I feel that and, you know, being a mom, you make tons of mistakes. Anyhow, what would you say to a teen mom who is already pregnant and she's about to have a baby, and she feels like how me and you felt, like, oh, what am I gonna do? What would you say to her?
I mean, I feel like when it happened to me, I look back and I just think of all the stress and all the crying and all the unnecessary drama like we put ourselves in. Yeah. I kind of wish I would have just told myself to calm down and take it one at a time. One day at a time. You know, there's no point of crying about having to be all night up with a baby if you just found out you're pregnant. You know, get healthy. You know, first decide what your plans are going to be with the baby, and then, you know, go from there. You know, get healthy, take care of yourself, plan what you're going to do to help you be prepared for the baby, do whatever you can to be financially ready, or at least somewhat close to ready, and just mentally prepare for it, because once that baby's here, you know how crazy that gets.
Yeah. I think I would say if she's a teen mom and she's in school, finish school. I would tell her to finish school. There's people that can help her, because without education, you really can't make it, especially as a teen mom. Finish school and know that if you're in a relationship with somebody who is not supportive, you got pregnant by somebody who's not supportive, it is okay to be by yourself and make it by yourself. And I say to a teen who thinks about getting pregnant to keep their baby daddy, because it happens, right? Don't do it, because that's not going to change. You're not going to keep that guy. That's all for the wrong reasons. And I'll end it on that note. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. If you like what you heard today, share it with a friend, or you can share it on your social media. Follow us on IG, The Beehive Buzz, and look for our podcasts.